Once upon a time in ancient Athens, there lived a peculiar philosopher named Socrates. Picture him with his unkempt hair, a constant companion of his flowing beard, and a twinkle in his eyes that hinted at his mischievous spirit. Socrates was unlike any other philosopher of his time. He didn't sit around in fancy robes, pontificating grand ideas. No, he preferred to wander the streets, engaging in conversations with anyone who would spare a moment. His method of inquiry was legendary and infamous, known as the Socratic method. It was like a verbal game of cat and mouse. Socrates would ask unsuspecting individuals seemingly simple questions, only to unravel the tangled webs of their reasoning. He would stroll up to a self-proclaimed expert, puffing their chest with knowledge, and say, "Tell me, my friend, what is justice?" The poor soul would confidently offer a definition, only to be met with more probing questions from Socrates. But what if justice means different things to different people? Is it objective or subjective? How do we determine what is truly just? Socrates would persist until the person was left scratching their head, realizing they knew far less than they thought. But don't mistake Socrates for a cynical troublemaker. He genuinely believed that wisdom came from acknowledging one's ignorance. He once declared, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." It was this recognition of his own limitations that fueled his quest for knowledge. Socrates was full of paradoxes. He preached humility but was unabashedly confident in his method. He believed in the power of questioning but had an unwavering commitment to his principles. His sharp wit and quick thinking made him both loved and loathed. Many Athenians found him endearing, admiring his ability to challenge the status quo. But others, particularly those who fell victim to his relentless questioning, saw him as an annoying gadfly. Yet, despite the controversies that surrounded him, Socrates had a band of loyal followers who sought his wisdom. Among them was Plato, a young philosopher whose writings would immortalize Socrates' legacy for centuries to come. Socrates' teachings were not limited to lofty concepts. He had a keen interest in practical matters too. He believed that living a virtuous life was the key to happiness. He encouraged people to examine their actions, to question their motives, and to strive for moral integrity. He challenged conventional wisdom, often going against the tide of popular opinion. And even when faced with adversity, like his trial for impiety and corrupting the youth, Socrates remained resolute. He could have easily escaped, but he chose to stay true to his principles, drinking the poison hemlock with a calm resolve. Socrates left no written works of his own, relying on his disciples to preserve his ideas. But his spirit of curiosity, his relentless pursuit of truth, and his commitment to self-examination have echoed through the corridors of philosophy. So, the next time you find yourself in a lively debate or wrestling with life's profound questions, channel your inner Socrates. Embrace the paradoxes, challenge the status quo, and remember that true wisdom lies not in having all the answers, but in the relentless pursuit of understanding. And perhaps, just perhaps, you might catch a glimpse of that mischievous twinkle in Socrates' eyes, guiding you on your own intellectual adventure. Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher who lived in Athens during the 5th century BCE. He is considered one of the founders of Western philosophy and had a profound influence on subsequent thinkers. Although he did not leave behind any writings, his ideas were documented by his student Plato and other contemporaries. Here are some key aspects of Socrates' life and philosophy. 1. Life and background. Socrates was born around 470 BCE in Athens, Greece. He came from a modest background and worked as a stonemason and later as a philosopher. He never wrote any philosophical texts himself, but engaged in dialogue and discussion with fellow citizens. 2. The Socratic method. Socrates is famous for his method of inquiry known as the Socratic method. He would engage in dialogues with individuals, asking them probing questions to expose contradictions and reveal the limitations of their knowledge. Through this method, he aimed to stimulate critical thinking and encourage individuals to examine their beliefs. 3. Philosophical focus. Socrates was primarily concerned with moral and ethical philosophy. He sought to understand the nature of virtue, justice, and the good life. His central goal was to help people achieve self-knowledge and develop moral character. Ignorance in wisdom, Socrates famously claimed, "I know that I know nothing." He recognized his own lack of knowledge and believed that true wisdom comes from acknowledging one's ignorance. He considered himself a gadfly who would provoke and challenge others to question their assumptions and seek deeper understanding. 5. Daimonion, divine sign. Socrates often referred to a divine sign or inner voice called the daimonion. This inner guidance served as a moral compass and guided his actions. It is unclear precisely what Socrates meant by this term, but it played a significant role in his decision-making. 6. Commitment to virtue. Socrates believed that the pursuit of virtue was the highest goal in life. He emphasized the importance of moral integrity, self-control, and living in accordance with reason. He argued that the virtuous life is the path to genuine happiness and fulfillment. 7. Influence on Plato and others. Socrates had a profound impact on his student, Plato, who became one of the most renowned philosophers in history. Many of Plato's dialogues feature Socrates as the main character, presenting his ideas and engaging in philosophical discussions. Socrates also influenced other thinkers, including Xenophon and Aristotle. 8. Trial and death. In 399 BCE, Socrates was put on trial in Athens on charges of impiety and corrupting the youth. He was found guilty and sentenced to death by drinking hemlock. Socrates accepted his fate and refused opportunities to escape, demonstrating his commitment to the principles he espoused. Socrates' legacy extends far beyond his own lifetime. His method of inquiry, emphasis on self-knowledge, and ethical philosophy continue to inspire and influence philosophers, educators, and individuals seeking to engage in critical thinking and pursue a virtuous life.